Welcome, everyone. This is Tanya Hoffman's fabulous TV show, and I am Tanya Hoffman, and this is my fabulous TV show because I have fabulous guests like Lucy McMonagle. Yay! Hi, Lucy.
Hi.
That's what she had, like the most fabulous name, McMonagle.
Yes, I like that. You run for the goal, so you're going to reach your goals.
Nice. Oh my gosh. I met Lucy at an event and, well, we had a conversation first. So, and then I get to meet her in person. And it's always so gratifying when I get to meet people in person because I'm like, oh my gosh, you're just more adorable in person than you are on the phone. And so she's going to tell us all about her upcoming events, and she's got a great webinar that she's going to give. So this is going to be so much fun. And we're talking about something that's really fun. Six figures. I mean, this is when you can start going to the store and actually buying those shoes that you love. So there's big pluses in that. So tell us, Lucy, tell us about you and how fabulous you are.
So I am an abundance breakthrough coach, and I empower entrepreneurs and individuals so that they can find their hidden saboteurs in order to start cracking the wealth code for making six figures. Because unfortunately, most entrepreneurs and most individuals are not aware of their hidden belief systems that are sabotaging them. And so I come in and I swoop in and I help them with their abilities to really find out where are they sabotaging themselves, where is this coming from, and how to correct it so that they are getting back on the path that they want to be on.
Love it. I mean, I'm sure you see people, you're like, oh, if I could just grab a hold of you and help you. I mean, you probably, it's like, I'm always thinking of the people that, help people lose weight. And I would be like, oh my gosh, I could just grab a hold of Tanya and just help her. Yeah. So when you meet people, is it evident or is it something that's kind of hidden, that's in their mind and you can't really see it? Or is it kind of evident when you see people?
It's usually becomes very evident if I'm talking to an individual for a short period of time. And what my special skill is I have an ear to hear you on where you're going, what direction you're going to be going at. So when we start talking, I actually can tell you where tomorrow's going to lead you simply by listening to your energy, your vibration, and your words. The words are very important also.
Oh, I love it. When you start looking at, people in general, is there like one thing that it seems like it resonates with everyone that always pops up?
One of the most important things that I've noticed on kind of on a general, and this is just a broad basis, is that there's a belief system that there's not going to be enough. Or if I have too much, then somebody else doesn't have enough. And that seems to be a little general. It's a very hidden feeling amongst a lot of individuals that I work with. And then when we really start working together, we discover that they have issues receiving.
So they're more of a giver, because I see that all. I mean, I've been, I can identify with that, and you're all off balance then, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, well, you mean I can ask to receive and I should be asking to receive, because because you always, at least for me, I grew up with my parents like, well, don't be selfish. You're asking for too much. And I mean, literally, I had never asked for anything because I didn't want to ever appear to be selfish and be one of those kind of people, right? So I'm sure that kind of messed with my mind as I grew up into an adulthood.
It does. It really does mess with your mind as you grow up in adulthood. And as a child, which is where a lot of our money stories come from, we can have one thing said to us from somebody that was very important and it sticks to us like glue. And when we can uncover where did that come from, and we don't have to actually know all of the circumstances. A lot of people think, oh my God, I've got to relive these memories just to get rid of them. You don't have to relive the memories to get rid of them. All you
Good.
have to do is find the corner point of where it first came into your life, and we just pluck it out. And then we
Nice.
replace it with something that's better.
Nice. I know, there's so many times, when once I let go of that, head trash that was stuck in there. I mean, things started to explode. And I met a billionaire, his name's Bill, and I was like, Bill, why are you a billionaire and I'm not? Because you are not that impressive. And he's like, well, no one's ever said that to me before, but but he didn't have that, right? He didn't have
Mhm.
that, stuff that I was still trying to get over, and saying that it is okay for me to want what Bill has, you know.
Right.
And Bill was great because he showed me how to create multiple income streams. You don't ever just do one thing, you do multiple things at one time, because then opportunities arise, and then you can listen to it and grab a hold of it
Mhm.
right then, right when you find out about it, you know?
Exactly.
Do you find that those kind of things also keeps people from jumping into an opportunity? Because I see that with speakers a lot of times, because they're like, oh yeah, I've had people ask me to come speak, but I wasn't ready. And so they don't take the opportunity, even though they had plenty of time to get ready.
Mhm. That is one of the things is a lot of individuals, they'll put all of their eggs in one basket, or they'll just have one stream of income, or they'll, like you said, if they get offered a speaking gig and they're like, oh well, I'm not ready, it's just, and it could be months and months down the road. And that's what really holds us back, is only looking and only focusing on one stream of income or one way to make money, or only having one job rather than having a job and maybe doing something on the side that you like and charging for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know it's been such a ride for me to get away from the victim mentality, right? And then learning to balance, and really balancing is not just about, I've got time for everything. It's really, I think, for me, and you can see what you think about for yourself. It's really about um, learning to integrate everything together, so that you're not having to say, this is family time, this is work time, this is this time, this is this, where everything is kind of flows. For me, at least, everything kind of just flows together. And that way I'm not, oh my gosh, it's, 5 o'clock and it's now family time, but I still got, and then you feel guilty.
Exactly. Exactly. And really setting up your time and balancing. And a lot of people, they do try to put little things in little compartments. And it doesn't work because they get overwhelmed, they run over time, they get frustrated. But if you allow yourself to be like a river and meander in between all of the family time and the work time and the client time and the follow-up time, and when you start getting into your personal rhythm, and this is the most important part, and not freaking out if it's not according to your time zone, which is in your mind.
Yeah.
Sometimes things take a little bit longer than we anticipate. And as long as you're continuously working through it, just imagining yourself being water and you're eroding all of the things you need to get done, then you start getting into the flow. And that's when magic happens in your life.
I love it. See, why aren't y'all all doing that? I mean, is that so brilliant or what? That's what I love, is that, because even for my children, I've always had them a part of my business. So they knew why mommy was out of town, why we were stressed at some point, why we were doing good at some point. We just let them be a part of it, because I grew up thinking we were dirt poor because my dad was a penny pincher of penny pinchers. He must have been the king, right? And I
Mhm.
thought we just had no money. right? And come to find out, he's a millionaire. He is a self-made millionaire, but we had no idea because we weren't a part of that. We weren't part of his life. We didn't understand why he was a penny pincher and where that came from. And, so when you separate things out, you also, I think, alienate people.
Yes, that's so true. And it's so common for the individuals from the Depression era and the era like that is you don't talk about money.
Yeah.
You don't discuss money. And, my grandma, she appeared to have money because she was a nester in Arizona in the winter, and in the summer she'd be in Michigan where we were from.
Mm.
But she would never tell me. And I would ask her, how do you make money, Grandma? Because my mom was dirt poor and
Um,
she was struggling. And if it wasn't for my grandma, we would have been homeless. So, but she would just start whistling and pretend I never asked the question. And caught that separation. Either it causes you to believe that you're not supposed to talk about money, you're not supposed to ask about money, or like me, I did the exact opposite. I started digging every place I could find because I wanted to know how to have a better life.
mhm. Because I find that a lot of people they give themselves excuses why they don't have the money, right? You know,
Mhm.
um, they look at and they judge themselves. Well, it's because I, don't have the right hair, or I don't have the right weight, or I'm not tall enough, or I'm not this, I'm not that, and I'm like, it's like being a speaker. People are like, "What? I can't be a speaker. I don't look like a speaker." I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but there are all kinds of speakers out there.
That's true.
I
That's
mean,
true.
look at Zig Ziglar. He was not a handsome guy. He was just a regular
Hmm.
guy. And so they get this image stuck, but it also gives them an excuse for not doing it.
That's true. And a lot of people they come up with excuses, and this is wasn't an excuse by somebody else, but this was kind of a compliment, strangely, for me. Is one of the ladies who was looking into getting to public speaking, she's like, "Oh my gosh, I was so afraid that I couldn't do public speaking, but look at you." And I'm like, "Well, thank you." She's like, "Now I know I can do it." And I'm like, "Thank you. I'm not exactly sure, but look at you. Is it my age? Is it my hair? Is it not long enough?" So, but then, she did get into public speaking because she seen me
Yeah.
and it inspired her. Maybe she just didn't think women in their late 40s could speak or something. I'm not sure.
I was sitting next to a woman the other day, and I was at an event, and she's like, "Oh, well, I can't be a speaker." And I'm like, "Well, why not?" She goes, I've got terrible teeth. And I'm like, "Open your mouth up, because I haven't noticed you're terrible." And her teeth was not terrible. And I'm like, "Look at these. They're like all crooked." I was like, "This isn't keeping me from being fabulous, you know?" And she's like, "Oh." And I said, I don't know what you mean by you have terrible teeth. Okay, there may not be the plastic teeth that some people have, right? But who cares?
Mhm.
Nobody's looking at your teeth and going, "I don't think she really knows what she's talking about because she has bad teeth." I mean, they don't do that. Nobody cares.
That's true. That's so true.
I know, and there's so many things that people um, self sabotage. Is there like a
Yes.
favorite self sabotage that you have that you see people do that you're like, "Oh, if they just did this, it would like immediately go away," or something? Or is it just a longer process?
It's both. The main self-sabotage that a lot of individuals do is they're not recognizing what they're worth.
Yeah.
That's the main self-sabotage across the board. They're just not recognizing it. And then the longer process of self-sabotage is because they're not recognizing their worth, they downplay what they're willing to sell, or they try to give all of their stuff away for free rather than giving. I mean, it's very important to give a lot of value and to give and empower other people so that they can go to a certain level. But if they need to go beyond that level, you can only do that for a longer relationship. And they don't always ask for the longer relationship.
Wow. I love that.
So,
There's some humans are so difficult sometimes. I've got two kittens running around because, my cat decided that she needed to go play with some little boy. And
mhm.
right before I was going to go get her fixed, I was like on the way to the doctor's the next day. I'm like, oh no. But anyways, they're just like bouncing around and they're attacking each other and they're being little kittens. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, you've got it so easy. You're a cat and you don't look at each other and go, I don't really like that stripe there.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
It's like, how did we become this very complicated creature? I'm sure dolphins don't do that either. You've got a spot on you. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, I don't think dolphins do that. I think if the dolphins see a spot on it, they want to rub it. And,
Yeah. Yeah, let me get that off of you. It's like, I don't
let
know
me
what
get the
it
dirt
is.
on it.
Every time I see somebody who's got tattoos, I always think, I'm like, oh, I need to clean that for you. I don't know. It's just like this immediate mommy, I got to clean that. And I've got to stop thinking that way. But, anyways, that's my only issue. Um, but yeah, there's so many things that happen, especially, when you're out there growing your business.
Mhm.
And a lot of times I see people that are singularity focused. And some
Yes.
people I think they need that, but then I think it does a disservice to them because I think they're afraid if they don't stay super focused on one thing that they're going to somehow drop the ball there. And I'm sure that there's a psychological thing going on with that also, because I mean I've got like 7 businesses. The latest one was Excellent Choice that I got into, and I just couldn't believe. I mean, they've got this product that's helping my skin. It's got,
Mhm.
diet chocolate. Who wouldn't want diet chocolate? And it tastes really good. And,
Wow.
probiotic chocolate. I mean, there's like things that are like, why would I not do that? Coffee that's like, got all these antioxidants in it and stuff. And,
Mhm.
and I'm like, people are like, I can't believe you would get and do something else. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't I? It's something that's easy. You just tell people that it's got diamond and gold infused into the skincare. I mean,
Mhm.
who wouldn't want to do that? And there's another income stream. And since they're starting off just like right now, because one of the things I think is fun, and you probably have that, Lucy, all the time, is because we travel and we get to meet so many new people, we've got great opportunities that arise. And
Yes,
I'm really
exactly.
good, right, at finding those real opportunities from things that are like, yeah, whatever. Um,
Mhm.
and so when I found out these guys that are just starting the company and they have huge global plans and we're already looking at Asia and Mexico and some other things, I'm like, jump me in, get me going right now, you know, and and they were surprised that I was just like so willing. I'm like, they're like, you've got other businesses. As long as you don't mind me having other businesses, I don't mind. Um,
Mhm.
but I think it's we give ourselves a lot of excuses, and I think a lot of it
Yes.
is it because in evolutionary kind of concepts, if we look at it, if we were like going for the hunt or finding berries, we were kind of focused and we were going to get that job accomplished, that kind of thing. Versus, oh, look, flowers, and then we starve.
Right. Right. Well, one of the most important things is it's to be you're only staying focused long enough to kind of get the base set up. And then from there, once you start the base and you're really getting good at that and you're no longer like weebling back and forth, then getting into the other streams of income.
Mm,
But if you start to get into like multiple streams of income, that you overwhelm yourself because you don't know what to do first. And most people don't have the skills to be able to do all of them at once. And then depending on who they meet, then they could specify, oh, you're looking for essential oils. Well, I work with XYZ company. Or you need a sleep system. Well, I work with this company, and after 25 years, I've completely healed my insomnia.
Yeah.
And, most people just, they don't know how to present it. And some of them, they get so excited about the new things that they're trying that they just kind of like tell everybody about everything.
Yeah.
And so, we do need to focus to a certain level until we can get our platform going with the income. And then you start adding to that.
Yeah. Totally. And I find a lot of people that, because like Bill, the billionaire that I was telling you about, because I asked him, I said, why are you so successful? Why do you have $1 billion? And he says it's all because of multiple income streams. Because if you look at millionaires and billionaires, they're not just doing one business. They all have real estate, they have CDs, they have multiple businesses, they have, they put their toes in everything. So that you aren't just relying on one income stream, especially if something happens to that income stream. You've got to have all of these other things coming in, and I'm learning it. I come from a poor family, and so that it wasn't a mindset that I had. So it's kind of absorbing into this. Oh, look at that! And I love how you said that, where you get something moving, and then you
Mhm.
can start something else
Right.
or sometimes you feel like whatever you're doing is so hard. Well, what can you do that's easy for now, and then you can go back to that, and
Hmm.
because you learn from one thing, it becomes easier. Sometimes it's just timing,
Exactly.
and then they hire
Exactly.
you to help them get through the
Mhm.
head trash stuff.
Yes, exactly. I do a lot of the head trash stuff, and I also do practical step by steps on how to find your niche, how to find your ideal client. Who is that person? Who do you want to work with? Because if you say I work with everybody, you really don't work with anybody
Right.
because nobody feels special when you say I do everybody. But if you are really particular on I absolutely love working with women entrepreneurs who want to have a global impact on the world. That's my niche.
Mm-hmm.
And, really figuring out who do you really, really love to work with. And when you find that passion, you're on fire.
Exactly. Love it. When you find people's passion, right?
Mhm.
Um, is it sometimes it's kind of hidden? Don't you find that
Yes.
sometimes people hide it? And is it
Yes.
because this feeling of, well, I don't want to show people this passion because of whatever?
Yes, exactly. A lot of people hide their passion, not intentionally,
Mm-hmm.
but it's when they were younger. And like you grew up not even knowing about the wealth that your father was creating. A lot of individuals, they're told, "Oh, you can't make money doing that," or you shouldn't do that, or you're not a very good singer, or you get all of these other people's opinions who are trying to direct you as you're growing up in accordance to their belief systems. And if they have very bad belief systems, it's going to be really hard for you to succeed. And so as we're growing up, we take little pieces, little aspects of ourselves, and we just bury them inside of us because we don't want to get hurt.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people they bury this passion. You know, like as a young girl, I was told I'm too loud.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm too loud. I like being the center of attention and I like acting. And it wasn't acceptable. And it wasn't acceptable to sing. It wasn't acceptable to be loud, not even outside. It because my mom worked graveyards.
Yeah.
And so during the day you didn't make noise
Yeah.
and stuff. And so that really cramped my knowing that I did public speaking is my soul path.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, they hide their passion unintentionally. And once we really start going in there and we start discovering, what did you love to do? What was your things that you enjoyed? And so we go through creative exercises to really draw out that beautiful sparkle that's inside of you. And then once you start finding it, that's when you start knowing what your success blueprint is from your soul.
Oh my gosh. That's beautiful. Oh, it was so great. Because
It is.
if I could just see people, I'm like, oh, because you see it, right? And a lot of
Yes.
times I see it before they see it in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you are amazing. Why aren't you like, sharing this amazingness to the world? And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, hello.
Yes, exactly.
Uh, so do you have any kind of, because you've got like a webinar coming up or something, right?
Right. I have a webinar coming up. It's Cracking the Wealth Code. And this webinar is, we're going to start talking about how to crack the wealth code. And then I'm also going to take individuals into a meditation so that they can
Mm.
start finding their wealth code that's inside of them. Because each of us have it's a little separate wealth code because we're all unique individuals. And it's going to be very, very powerful. It's going to be on June 6th at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I will copy the link to put down in the blab here. So if anybody's
Perfect.
interested, they will be able to check it out.
Perfect. Yeah, I love those kind of things, and
Yes.
too many times we don't explore. I know I just spent most of my life really not exploring much. I mean, I still
Mm-hmm.
did stuff, but I think back, I'm like, wow, if I had gotten over all these issues earlier, I can't even imagine where I would be now, right? I mean, it would be so much
Right.
further apart. And I even look at my kids, and if y'all have children out there, look at helping them now so they don't have to wait till they're
Yes.
38 like me,
Mm-hmm.
start living. Um, I always have my children start their own business when they're 12, and it really doesn't matter what they start. It's more about getting them out there and getting them accustomed to shaking a hand and looking at someone's eyes and seeing the positivity and the growth that people have. Um,
Yes.
because even my son the other day, I was shocked because he has the same mindset issues a lot of times that we all run into.
Mm-hmm.
So we were watching the something of the super rich, the toys of the super rich, or something, some TV program, because we're stuck in a hotel room and the TV was there. So we were
Mm-hmm.
watching this. I'm like, what is this about? And they're showing, this bedroom that was the size of our house, and these cars
Wow.
that cost as much as our house,
Mm-hmm.
and just things like that. And he was like, well, people shouldn't have those kind of things. They shouldn't spend that kind of money. I'm like, oh, really? So why would you think that? I mean, if they've got money. And so we had this great conversation, and it was all just from what he had already started to play in his head, right? And
Yes.
I was like, well, if I could get him from starting at 12, helping
Mm-hmm.
him get over that head trash on, why people shouldn't be wealthy and all of that kind of stuff, that wealthy people are evil or bad, and poor people are so good, all of those kind of things. Get him out
Mm-hmm.
of the stereotypes. I can't even imagine what that would look like now, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's so crucial. That's so important to understand on how that really works and getting over the head trash and being able to get over, these belief systems that are really holding you back. They're lies that we believe about ourselves and about other people. And it can be so frustrating when you're finally realizing that, oh, just that one thought that I picked up from my school teacher in 6th grade, or that one thought that I picked up from wherever. I don't even know where I got this from.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden we're like, finally, we can just clear it. And when we clear it, boom, magic starts happening in our life. We're able to
exactly.
really start creating wealth and abundance by just removing the lies that we believed about ourselves, that the lies we believed about money and success.
Exactly. I know with like Tim Gillette is listening because he's so fabulous. And,
Mhm.
when you start connecting with people that you're like, I just get you. I just, love being around you. And they have their own persona, and so many times the people are like, well, I don't understand that person. They're so different. Well, different is awesome. We want people to be unique. We want to, share how weird we all are. And I always tell people, don't be me because you hit a certain level where we I went and spoke at this event of it was all these lovely women and I had on a certain type of outfit and people are like, oh, I really like the way you looked. And I told them where I got it. They went out next day, they all walked in and they were like little Tanyas. They all had this similar type of outfit. I'm like, not is not what I meant. Y'all have to go find your own look.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my
Exactly.
gosh. So it's kind of crazy when you start really kind of looking at the abundance out there and getting
Mhm.
out of this, kind of crazy stuff that we shove into our head,
Yes,
this
exactly.
wanting to fit in all the time. You're going to fit in with
Mhm.
the people that you're going to fit in with, and they will appear and they will come to you when you really own who you are.
Exactly. And that's so true. And that's one of the things that as a young adult, that was one of the things I used to do was be the trendsetter. And everybody thought I was so weird. And then a year or two later, all of the popular um, people started doing the exact same thing that I was doing. And it was that when I first started doing that, I used to get so frustrated.
Oh
But
yeah.
really finding your unique identity is so important, whether other people like it or not. Just be a trend starter.
Totally, and it's kind of funny because when I was driving, in the car the other day, they had the Bluetooth
Mhm.
on, so it was, talking to my friend, and my son was in the car, so he could hear the whole conversation. And so after I hung up with her, he goes, "Mom, your friends are so weird." I'm like, "I know, isn't that awesome?" And I said, "We're not in middle school anymore, baby. We don't have to fit in. We don't have to be like everyone else. We actually
Mhm.
like standing out and owning our own personality and what that really means.
Yes, exactly. And that's so important is to really own our own personality because that's really what gets you to the six-figure income is to truly own your own personality and being able to cultivate it so that you can speak your language, but where other people can understand it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is so beautiful when
And
they resonate with that.
and especially when I find an opportunity. There's like ones that come to me all the time. So I'm going to go speak in the Yucatan in July. Isn't that cool?
Yes,
That is going to
so
be so
exciting.
awesome. And sometimes things just pop out, and I don't worry anymore about, oh my gosh, it's going to cost me $5,000 to go to the Yucatan to go speak at this event. And people are like, how could you not worry about that? Because you just know that other things are going to happen from that. It's this belief system. Once you let go of the fears and
Mhm.
you just let it out, things come. It's just the craziest thing because you're not so stuck on the outcome of what you're about to do, the outcome of every part of that exploration, right? You just do, and then you just see what happens.
Yes.
Like I want my conference. So the conference is in Palm Springs this year, June 26th through
Mhm.
the 29th. The
Yes.
fabulous Mr. Tim Gillette is going to be a speaker. So he's going to be awesome.
Oh, cool. So
And
cool.
when you start looking at, that event, I want it in Vegas next year. Well, Vegas ends up being really expensive. The MGM wanted me to come, but they wanted me to spend $25,000, which is a little bit more than what I'm used to spending, you know? So now I'm
Mhm.
trying to figure out, well, how do I make this work, you know? So you just do, and you just go and just have the belief that it's going to work out. Something, it may not be the MGM that I get to have my conference in, but it's going to
Mhm.
be pretty darn close just because I moved that direction.
Yes, exactly. And really understanding, and what you're saying is you're setting forth your expectations so that it will be able to manifest. And you also are translating on, okay, well, it might not be this, it might not be exactly like this, but I'm going to make it work.
Yeah.
And when we look at life as, how can I make this work? You start cracking your wealth code. You start being able to create the six figures that you want, because you're not looking at how this is not going to work and
Mm-hmm.
getting all bogged down and frustrated. You're looking at, how can I make this work for me?
Yes.
That is one of the deepest secrets that a lot of individuals aren't even aware of. So
Exactly.
if they pay attention, and if they ask themselves, how can I make this work for me? Even if it's something completely different or off the wall, then you can really start seeing how that leads to this opportunity, that leads to this opportunity, that leads it, and it's like a string. The universe starts conspiring for you
Yeah.
in
And
accordance to your
and
expectations.
don't you think too, because sometimes I listen just to my gut. So I was just in
Mhm.
Vegas, and the lady that was going to coordinate a little meeting for me, because I was there for another huge event, but I had a whole
Mhm.
day not to do anything. So I'm like, I don't want to just sit and gamble and smell smoke all day. So it's like, let
Yeah.
me have put together this little meeting. Well, the lady that was going to do it, her daughter's best friend passed away at the age of 12.
Oh my
I
gosh.
know, it's horrible. And so she just kind of dropped the ball, and she apologized. She goes, I totally dropped the ball. She goes, we could
Mhm.
still have this meeting, but she goes, I only have like 6 people registered. I'm like, let's do it. Because whatever my gut was saying, I needed to be there.
Mhm.
So the people that I met there were incredible, right?
Wow.
That's that's the reason, you know. And then I found this, you know, excellent choice people that are just starting their MLM. And why were
Mhm.
they there? There was only 6 people, right? And they were like, hey, we came because we saw you and that you were going to be here and we wanted to hear from you.
Mhm.
And it didn't make sense for either of us to be there because these are the COO and, you know, his wife, who have this adorable, you know, autism child that they've been able to help so much, you know. And you start hearing their story. Oh my gosh, you know. And then now here I am, and they've been able to get me into this huge opportunity. I mean, you just don't know. But if I had gone blew it off and like, oh, 6 people, and you know, and
Mhm.
that's just beneath me to go. I mean, you know, you just leave this opening door up, and things happen for you.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the way it is. And a lot of individuals, they'll, like this one lady that I know of, she only had two people who signed up for her retreat. And she was like, I'm going to call it. I'm not sure about this, but she was told, just do it. And she showed up. She did the best that she could. She pretended she had a huge crowd. She made $23,000 in the sale from those two people.
Right? That's what I'm talking about. And that's what people don't get, is that if you always look at the negative, only the negative will happen.
Exactly.
And because I totally was there, I've been there.
I got it. Oh, yes. Yes,
Oh
I've
my God,
totally
you
been
know,
there.
focus on the negative, focus on the negative. And they're like,
Mhm.
I don't know why everything bad is always happening. Hello.
Because you're looking for it.
You know, even for, you know, the law of attraction type of thing, right? My
Mhm.
husband and I, a couple months back, we were like, you know, we would, it's, you know, our house is getting to that age where the cabinets need to be replaced because it was kind of all builder grade stuff, anyways. So it's
Mhm.
like, we need to replace our cabinets, our floors, you know. there was a lot of little handyman stuff that needed to be fixed around the house. And then we're like, oh, but we don't want to have to do it. We're getting to the age where, it kind of hurts now to do stuff on our own, especially on the floor, putting in floors and stuff. And
Mhm.
so we went to, it's like, let's take a vacation. So we went away for 3 days, came back, and the whole house is destroyed from a water leak. And guess what? We're getting new floors, new cabinets, all the little things are going to be fixed, right? Now, yeah, okay, 4 months in a hotel is not that fun. But we're making
Mhm.
it work, right? We've got this stuff going on. I just realized we've got this big old light sitting there. We've got stuff. We're making it work out. But
Mhm.
we asked for it. We asked to have the house, totally destroyed so that it could be, it's not really what we asked for. We're like, we need to
Mhm.
specify next time.
Yes. Yes. And that's really the way the law of attraction does work is a lot of individuals think it's not working because i- if you weren't thinking of that circumstances before, you would have been thinking, "Oh my God, I went on vacation and I come home and my house is trashed."
Yeah. Yeah.
They would have been thinking, "Oh, why does this happen to me?" And
Yeah.
they would go into that little negative spin and then having to deal with this stuff. And
Yeah.
instead of looking at, "Oh, I got exactly what I was wishing for, not quite the way I was intending it to happen. Okay, but that's okay. I'll be a little more careful next time."
Yeah.
And that's really so important because people don't understand the power of their words.
Uh,
And when they start using words like I want this or I want that or they're not conscious, they're getting exactly what they're asking for. So if you're looking at the literal meaning of want, it means that you don't have it. So
yeah.
if you're affirming all the time, I don't have this, what do you get?
Yes.
More of I don't have this. So being careful with your words is very important in the law of attraction.
Totally, totally. I know. Even, I was sitting because I'm working on an Asian conference tour, Singapore, Hong Kong, Vietnam.
Oh,
Um,
fabulous.
yeah, I know. It's like I'm really looking at how to push myself, because, I'm getting to the point where, I get a little too comfortable. It's like, okay, what have I not done that's kind of scary.
Hmm.
And so I was sitting with a gentleman right before I went on this big trip to Vegas and California. And he's like, for our conference, the Asians love network marketing companies. And I'm like, you're kidding. And he goes, no. I said, they're all trying to figure out how to start their own business. And they don't have the negative connotation that Americans have, because everyone's like, oh, MLMs. It's just another
Yes,
form of business. And it
yes,
does
that's
really
true.
work. And I'm like, well, I don't, we'd have to find the right company because if we got involved with something, it has to be the right products, but it has to be kind of a startup because then we
Hmm.
wouldn't make any money, bringing it to China and other places. And then I went to Vegas and here, Excellent Choice jumped up. I'm like, you just don't know, but you've got to say it out loud. You got to ask
Hmm.
for what you want things to happen so that you get those six figures because you have these multiple opportunities so that things are moving and shaking and things are happening. And that's the exciting part is you just don't
Hmm.
know. When I created the Public Speakers Association, I didn't know I was going to meet you, Lucy, right?
That's true.
I mean, it
That's
was
true.
like, but I was like, I want to meet really positive, amazing people that have a heart for others that can really help them, right? And that's why
Hmm.
I think you and I just kind of clicked and we're like, oh, you need to be at my conference. I'm like, yeah, you need to be at my conference. So, those, what happens, when I met Tim Gillette, same thing, it's that same, oh my gosh, you need to know about my people. I need to know about your people. We all need to work together. It's this kind of symbiotic relationship.
Exactly, exactly. And that's so important to understand is that when you start creating symbiotic relationships with other people, that's when you start creating more wealth. That's when you start looking at the possibilities of six figures or doubling that six figures
Oh,
and
yeah.
looking at different companies. And MLMs are fabulous companies because they do all of the research, they do the developing, they do the marketing
It's a
on
plug
their
and
end.
play, right? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
like, how easy is this? They got all this beautiful marketing, they got beautiful
Hmm.
packaging, they got beautiful website. I don't have to do anything. I just got to tell people about it. I mean, how easy is that?
Right. Right. And when you love it and you're working with it, that's really cool. But in America, for some reason, we have this really weird connotation that, working
Yeah,
for another company as an independent person
yeah.
is not good.
Well, and there
And
has been some scammers out there, so I get
yes.
why they call it the pyramid scheme and stuff, because there has been. But
Hmm.
realistically, I mean, Avon wouldn't be one of the most powerful companies in the world, right? I think they're like
Yes.
$3 billion if they were a scam.
Hmm. Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of people, they don't realize Avon and Mary Kay and all of these really powerful companies, they're basically an MLM.
They totally
And
are an MLM.
yeah, they are. And other people, they just don't really, they don't, like they don't correlate that with these other ones.
Yeah.
And there has been companies that are scammers, and it is important that you do your due diligence.
But that's the reality of any business. I mean, you look at
Exactly.
banks or insurance, or I mean, you
Mhm.
name any industry, and there's always been a problem because that's just the way humans are. But we like to
Mhm.
label everyone as, banks are all bad. No, they're not. Whatever insurance. Like I've got Liberty Mutual that's helping us with our, whole renovations of our house and everything, and they're
Mhm.
brilliant. They've been,
Yeah.
it's a. It, and I went in and they went in as, let's have this as a win-win. They're not going to just, write blank checks to me, but I'm
Mhm.
also not asking them to. So it's about being fair. That's all I ask,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Love
That's
it.
true. And Liberty Mutual is actually a pretty good company.
Oh, they've been the nicest people because I've dealt with other insurance companies that did not want to help or even drop you. I had
Mhm.
cancer, and the health insurance company dropped me after they found out I had cancer. I mean, isn't that
Yeah.
lovely?
Yeah.
And you
No,
don't
health
know,
insurance companies did
right?
used to do
You don't
that.
know. So, um,
Mhm.
anyways, but I would love for you. Um, yeah, jobs are the biggest pyramid scheme. I love that. Was great. So, tell us, Lucy, about you've got an amazing offer for our listeners today. What is that?
My amazing offer for your audience today is 10 Keys to Unlocking Six Figures. It's an email series with one quick tip per day because I know you're really, really busy and you want to have just something you can just look at real quick and get it and then go on to the next. So it's a 10-day email series that will give you one quick tip for you to create the wealth and the abundance that you want. And I
Nice.
will put the link for that on the chat here
Awesome. Ooh,
for the
the Dean of Success just joined us. That's an
Hi.
awesome name.
That is an awesome name.
Awesome. And I
Cool.
really would love for everyone to come to the public speakers conference because huge things happen there. Plus, we have two things going on you need to take advantage of. One of them is get yourself nominated. We have nominations open for local, national, international collaborator of the year. So if you have not nominated yourself, do it today. My panelists they really don't care if you nominate yourself or if you feel weird about it, get someone to nominate you. But that way you can put it on your bio and you might actually win. So if you love helping people and being a giver, make sure you jump on that. We also have a whole video series that we're doing for contests. It's under a 5-minute video, and it's on the best business tip, the best personal story, the best, oh my gosh, there's so many different categories. So go on there, submit something. Again, it does not have to be professional. Just, record it, get it done, and send it in. And again, you could be put it on your bios, especially if y'all are speakers, that you're a finalist for the best business tip of the year, that kind of thing. So, it'll help you in your business as well. So make sure you jump on those. We have the early bird special running through this weekend. I will be updating it because now I'm finally out from running around the world and will be home long enough to raise my rate. It was supposed to be done like a month and a half ago. I was like, whoops. So take advantage of me not getting it done with all the craziness with the flood and everything, and jump in on that opportunity. So you can meet Lucy in person. So you can meet the fabulous Mr. Tim Gillette, and put your G's and T's mixed up. So you can meet, like, Scott Schilling is going to be there. I mean, he's sold more from stage than like people like Zig Ziglar. I mean, incredible gentleman, and so such a giver. Teresa de Grosbois, who's one of the top influencers in the world, and will show you how to influence. I mean, these are people that rock it. I mean, and we're going to be at the Hard Rock Hotel, so we're going to have a rocking good time anyways. So Palm Springs, California, June 26th through the 29th. So jump on that. Check out publicspeakersassociation.com, and because we would love to have y'all on our next events. Let's see, I'll put it in here also. So upcoming events that you can be a speaker on. I just sent out 7 speaking opportunities. I think it was yesterday. So you could definitely take advantage of all those. Those are under the speaking opportunity page, which is under members page tab. So you could jump into those. There was even one that was in England or someplace. So that's fun, but they're all over, mostly the U.S., but all over the world. But we have the next virtual summit coming up June 9th. So we're looking for presenters. The theme is transformative. Yeah, that'd be perfect for you, Lucy.
Yeah, that would be.
So we have a few spots open on that one. And then we have our Fab Blabathon. We're on here. You have up to 2 people as our guest stars. I'll be the host, asking you questions, what you would like to be asked. And then it's all lead generation so that people can opt into your email or whatever you want to do. And that's going to be on May 19th. And we do have some opportunities left on that as well. So you can take advantage of all of those by going to publicspeakersassociation.com. And then if you happen to want to jump in on the opportunity with the excellent choice, the link is there, right there in the bar. They do the healthy chocolates, the probiotics. They have the coffee that's the antioxidants that it's out of this world. And then the beautiful makeup that's normally $1,000 a bottle in some stores out there. They're marketing it through this company, so it's really inexpensive, and they've got gold and diamond infused. So even for you gentlemen out there, you can look prettier too. But they're just starting out, so that's why I jumped in. I'm like, there's only 1,000 people. They're only in like 5 states, and so I'm like, okay, I'm in. So it makes it easy. Alrighty, everybody. So thank you, Lucy, for being on today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so kindly. I appreciate you having me on here, and I am so grateful for you, Tanya. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see you again in person in Palm Springs. And you've got your own conference coming up in November in Arizona, right?
I have.
What's the date on that?
It's November 11th through the 13th currently. And It's Awakening Your Abundance Blueprint. It's the 7 pillars for entrepreneurial success.
Awesome. All right, everyone, make sure you jump in and get her little thing that she does, a little email series, and I'm sure she'll put you into the email so you'll know about that upcoming conference, correct?
Exactly. Yes.
Perfect. All righty, everyone. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, everyone. We will see you next time on the Tanya Hoffman's fabulous TV show. Yay!